Hello and welcome back to week 8 of the Hearthstone Global Games. Once again, I'm Falcone, this time joined by Lorinda once again. Did you watch much of that last game?
Yeah, watched quite a bit of it. Swiped, Gaskin left as well, so off he went.
Why'd you do that?
Not my sort.
That's just mean. Didn't want to watch him and Indian hanging out.
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, looking forward to this next one. Just to make everyone clear, that Belgium-France game is on here tomorrow, so we'll have a much better idea of how Denmark stand and how Belgium stand after that one.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big factor in deciding whether or not Denmark have a chance. If France take that one away, then that pushes Belgium down and Denmark come forward. Belgium actually beat Denmark a few weeks ago. That was in our, I think it was the week that me and Sot on Ravencast did, our week where we had all of the upsets. We deemed that Belgium were the slightly lesser-known team, maybe less popular, a team with less of a pedigree, and Denmark, the better team, yet Denmark lost. So hopefully now, hopefully for Denmark, they're going to have a chance to bring themselves forward anyway.
Yep, but that is all tomorrow. Now we have a match from Group E coming up. It's Japan versus Norway, and this is an important one. Norway are on 2-2, Japan are on 1-2. And just look at these lineups. These are two of the better teams in all of Hearthstone Global Games.
Right, so from Norway, we've got Zorkthar, Hunter Race, Diggen, and Zyrez. Versus from Japan, Gundam Flame, B787, Tansoku, and Aqua. Lorinda, what do you know about Japan?
Japan, it's a country. Japan, Gundam Flame was the champion from all of Japan in summer last year. Very aggressive player, one of the best aggro players in the world, I would go as far as to say. B787 has been around. He got to 6th in the APAC HCT and also won the APAC Championships in winter. Aqua, a very, very solid long-term campaigner. I cast a tournament where he was in the top 8 overnight, and he played another tournament between the 2 days.
Wow.
So he's a lunatic. And Tansoku recently just came 2nd in the Japan Major Final, losing out to Ping Ping Ho. And he's an up-and-comer. He's been around for a while, but we will be seeing more of Tansoku soon.
On the other side of things, we've got Norway, and I liken them a little bit like Finland. I know they're very much one of these community teams. They're one of these teams that play together all the time. They practice against each other. They go to LANs, etc., etc. I was talking to Zorkthar just a little bit earlier today and saying, hey, how are you feeling coming into this game? I believe their score is 2-2 in the group at the moment, so it's a big one. And he was saying to me, we're just going to continue to do what we've been doing. We feel like we kind of got a little bit unlucky with the games we lost. We don't think there's anything wrong with what we've been doing. We know that we're good at communicating, so we're just going to carry on and hope for the best, but they're feeling confident.
They for sure. And Zorkthar says that Ziggen is going to do his own version of Rap God if they win.
Yes.
And Diggen says we're going to see Zorkthar dab if they win as well. So Norway setting each other up for trying to lose, I think, at this point.
I am looking forward to this interview if they win, though. That's going to be...
Exactly.
Yeah, if you thought like us talking to Indra and arranging to meet up with something, let's watch some dabbing.
Yeah, dabbing and rapping, definitely what this show is not all about, but we'll take whatever we can get. As we're going to move into the first game of this, Tansoku going with the Mage, Norway going with the Hunter.
Passing up on Druid and Warrior, that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, it looks to me like Norway brought Taunt Warrior and therefore the Hunter to back it up because they're sort of similar to Pirates. Expecting to see the Druid there taking on their Taunt Warrior and therefore they mixed it with the Hunter and Japan second-guessed that and went with the Mage.
Right, Mage. Have we seen any Mage today? We haven't seen any Mage today.
We haven't seen much. Did we see Mage? We saw a Secret Mage in the first.
Oh, yeah. We've seen, a few Mages being passed up today. I'm excited to see more of it. Again, in the Americas playoffs, there was a little bit of Yogg Saron appearing.
I know you like a bit of Yogg.
You know I like a bit of Yogg. We had some Yogg in the last series. Ant has Yogg Saron in his mage deck, which was also a secret mage, I think. Astrogation also had Yogg Saron in one of his decks in playoffs. So I am expecting to see it a little bit more popular at the moment.
Yeah, in the secret/tempo build of Mage, I know APX Void said a long time ago that he was pretty sure that Mage ends up with Yogg in it. He just didn't know what the other 29 cards were going to be.
It's funny because that harkens us back to weeks ago when Secret Mage was only just becoming popular. I remember saying those exact words sitting right here, saying, we don't really know much about Secret Mage at the moment, but we've got APX Void playing, and he said in a tweet last night that he's pretty sure Yogg fits in it. It's not last night anymore, it was a good few weeks ago, but we're starting to see this prediction coming true.
Yeah, APX, one of the best, if not the best, tempo mage / secret mage. I keep saying tempo mage because even though it is called secret mage by everybody, it's basically tempo mage because it has a mana worm in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that Discover Mage has that as well. That's how we distinguish between the two. But everything's converging on this Mana Worm Mage build one way or another.
And that's fair, Mana Worm being one of the most powerful cards in any mage deck, joining the ranks with Frostbolt and Fireball as just these must-play cards in everything. Hunter, on the other hand, I'm looking at my notes from playoffs from last weekend, and no Hunters represented in the top 4 players.
Wow. Yeah.
No priests either.
Yeah, in a full lineup, I don't think Hunters necessarily got the tools to do it, because if you bring aggression, there were Hunters in the EU playoffs, I believe. I think RDU brought Hunter.
Yep.
But in general, you can play 4 aggressive decks without the Hunter. Obviously, the NA playoffs were a little bit different because everybody bought control strategy, so Hunter went straight out the window, a little bit like Dan's fidget spinner.
Right. There's no window in here, but yes.
Not anymore, there's not.
Oh my goodness. This is what Hearthstone casting has become. Okay, anyway, we did just see Hunter lose to a Shaman deck in the previous series final game where Malaysia lost to Denmark. The Shaman was just able to outlast the Hunter. It had the taunts at the right times, it had the healing at the right times, and it was just able to outlast and win.
Yeah.
On the other side, against Mage, Hunter actually has a very good shot. And as we saw in the previous series, there was a sneaky flare teched into Malaysia's Hunter.
Yeah, and I think you might need that sneaky flair. I think the mage just has the edge these days, as mages have come down the mana costs a little bit. They're starting to play double volcanic potion. They're just starting to be a little bit more careful in that early game. Obviously, Hunters can get in a real twist as well if they're playing against secret mage. They can just have real problems working out, is that a counterspell for my animal companion, or is it an entity for my actual minions? And sometimes you just have to, it's not quite a guess, you can work out what your opponents are more likely to play, but sometimes you have to kind of guess.
Yep, but Flare, just like Eater of Secrets, has the potential to shut the mage down entirely, just winning the game.
Yeah, if they can get an Eater of Secrets down, it's not so much about getting the blocks, oddly enough, against the secret mage. It's just about literally that tempo that comes of eating up that secret.
Yeah. And it's going to be a similar looking Hunter to the one we saw earlier, though this one does run a snipe. Now, Lorinda, I know that you're a secret Hunter connoisseur.
Yeah, it's a deck that I've long loved and tried and tested. And you're a little bit sarcastic sometimes. Sure. Snipe, a card that I always used to think was kind of mediocre, but I think it's pretty good in the current meta. There's not many minions that have 5 or more health coming down early. It's really good at dealing with combo decks in particular. It's not so good at dealing with humongous Razor Leaf, but most of the other cards in the meta right now are fairly small.
Snipe is one of these cards which is great as a surprise as well. When you see a secret come down, Snipe is not usually the first one that comes to mind as what you need to play around, and sometimes it can catch your opponent off guard. Catrick also very good at catching opponents off guard, and very good against Mage.
Yeah, they've got their curve sorted out, but no Huntress, which is the card they want. It'll allow them to play secrets for 0 mana. And even though the secrets aren't fantastic, the swirling mess of things you have to work out to get through them can often lead to you just straight up winning the game.
I'll be honest with you, Lorinda, I'm very out of my depth here. If there is a Cloaked Huntress in this deck, you're going to have to tell us how this works, or remind us how this works since the card was released in One Night at Karazhan.
Yeah, and I like the way you pick on me, the guy who's known for hating secret hunters so much. But yeah, basically you play the Huntress and all your secrets cost 0, and then the temptation is to dump them all on the table. However, dumping them all on the table is often a mistake. You can actually play them more strategically than that, and you can make your opponent, like I say, keep making them guess. Play a Catrick here, make your opponent guess. What is it? Do we play our coin? Do we not? And then it will actually interfere with the Mana Worm.
Yep, I like Catrick here a lot for that very reason. When your opponent's still got the coin in hand, if you can squeeze that Catrick in, it prevents them from ramping up their mana for 1 turn. It prevents them from playing any spell. Or it doesn't prevent them, but it means that you'll get the Catrick out. And actually, if you can get that Catrick out on turn 2, or if you can get that the cat in the hat out, sorry, on turn 2. That's very strong. It's a 4-2 with charge, essentially.
Yeah, they've decided not to go with that, partly because they might pick up the Huntress, which would, of course, be an amazing pickup next turn, but also because of Volcanic Potion. You really want to tempt that potion out of your opponent's hand before putting a 4-2 on the table, because a 4-2 is so devastating.
Primordial Glyph. Arcane Intellect can be okay to draw some cards, get you deeper into your deck, deeper towards your win condition. However, against a Hunter, kind of need to bide your time. I would have considered the barrier there as well, though Tensoku seemed pretty confident with the Intellect.
Yeah, they've got to work out how long they think this game is going to go, and so far there's no real clues as to what sort of Hunter it is. They won't be expecting the cat trick at all, and that may have been another part of Diggon's thought process last turn. Getting the Beast down for the Razormaw was a big deal last turn as well. So Japan thinking the game's going to go a little bit longer. Also looking at their hand is actually really poor right now. So that Intellect may just be a measure to stop this hand being so bad.
Nice trade, though, for Norway here, if they choose to take it.
Yeah, if they play the Animal Companion and trade, they will have a decent beast on the board. Presumably, they still play Houndmaster. The card is pretty strong. They have the Razormaw as well, and it will be quite difficult for Tansoko to remove both beasts. The 2-1, of course, being pingable, but uses up 2/3 of their available mana, or half if you use the coin, which will allow the Animal Companion to live unless it gets frostbolted. But I think we'll see Animal Companion trade here. Even though it's an aggressive build, you still need to clear the way for those minions to do that repeated damage.
Yeah, I think trading is just pretty straightforward at the moment. As you say, if you just keep control of the board as you go on, continue to deal the chip damage. I think that's what we call it, just chip damage, little bits that stick to the board and keep smacking the face. Leok, kind of unfortunate for Diggon there. Would have loved to have Huffer and just smack 4 into the face, or even Misha for the better body. Having to waste that 1 extra damage there with the Crawler. It's a shame, but it still does the job. And now it's down to Tansoku to take back this board.
I actually feel that Leok's okay there. I feel that even though Huffer does 4 to face, it's very weak against many of the cards in the Mage deck, whereas Leok does tend to stick about. Misha also good, especially on a smaller board, but as we can see, this Frostbolt now can't actually kill off the Leok. And so if that had been Huffer, it would just be dead, the ping would have happened, and Japan would have reset the board.
Tensoku, 2 mana remaining to decide what he wants to do. He's going to ping his own face? No? Okay, going to ping the Galactic Crawler. That makes a little bit more sense.
So Tensoku has all the cards he could ever need, which means that it's time for Norway to start pressing the tempo button and start actually hitting some face. And this Houndmaster looks like a fantastic pickup. The Razormaw, however, with a cat trick is also very tempting because pretty much only spells can take this Leok out right now, one of which is Fireball. And if Leok gets Fireballed and your cat trick appears, you're not in a much worse position because you then buff up the cat trick with your Houndmaster the turn after.
I've got to say, Neil, my gut reaction was the Houndmaster that was picked up off the top, but I really like your play there with the Crackling Razormaw and the cat trick, just because, as you say, the cat trick is going to get procced, or this board just lives on. And then after the Cat in the Hat appears on the board, Houndmaster can then do its thing, buff that up, and still get more value.
The downside of my play is that the Tundra Rhino doesn't get great use on turn 5, but I don't think it's going to get particularly good use anyway. Be interesting to see what they go with. They've obviously spent all this time knowing they're the 2 choices all the way. Let's see which one they decide to pick.
Yep, looks like going to go with the Razormaw and cat trick. Oh, tough choice. Not long to make it.
Yeah, it won't be the +1. It'll be Divine Shield or Plants. They're going to go for the Divine Shield. That means that, tempting out a ping and a spell and a cat trick's there. And you see the look on Tansoku's face there when the secret is played. They're like, oh, we've got trouble, boys. Not
what they're expecting. As I was saying to Gaskin earlier, I don't expect to see see secrets in a Hunter deck at the moment. The more of this deck that we see, the more I think that it's not even running Cloaked Huntress. It just looks like it's a mid-range Hunter with a couple of secrets in. Does that make any sense?
Interesting, yeah, it possibly does. Although I do feel, and we saw Snipe as well.
That's the weird one.
So if you're going to play Snipe and Cat Trick, I think you're crazy not to play the Huntress.
Sure.
In the same way that in Priest, you play a 3/4 Talon Priest that buffs things, you might as well play things to buff.
Yep.
So I think a 3/4 is an okay enough shape if it has some upside in an aggressive deck to at least worthy merit of consideration.
Yes.
I'll finish that sentence one day.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yep, that does make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be too surprised, though I'm not necessarily anticipating it at the moment. Let's take it that far. Frostbolt going to deal with the Razor Maul, but then the cat trick going to go off. It's now a 5-2 with stealth, potentially going to become a 7-4 with stealth. Vicious Fledgling. Now, we had a conversation about this card being in Hunter decks last week, where we said the reason it's so strong in Druid is because of Innovate, and actually in Hunter, some websites say it's a very, very low win percentage card.
Yeah, in your opening hand in particular, in Hunter, Fledgling is only a 46.5% according to one major site to actually win the game. Whereas if you keep it in aggro Druid, that number goes from 46% all the way up to 53%, and even more if you have an Innovate with it. So Fledgling not in a lot of Hunter decks. Norway will be looking here to see if they think they can possibly either sneak this Fledgling down now, as one obvious play, or possibly wait until later and do it after the Rhino. And they're going to say, okay, which of these things do you want to kill, because they're all good?
Yeah, this is just better. This is a big challenge for Tansoku here, because if the Rhino does eat up the burn damage, then the Fledgling can come down the turn after and possibly survive. That being said, we can see there's a Fireball in Tansoku's hand now for the Rhino. There's a Meteor in his hand next turn, which could deal with everything.
Badly positioned as well for Meteor. The Rhino should be on the right-hand side here, so the Cat in the Hat would have to be Meteored for the big 15, and the other 3 wouldn't touch either of them.
Right.
So you'd only get to take 2. Actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here, because this way they can actually kill off. They can't kill off the Rhino if they don't want to kill off the Leok as well. So I'm wrong there. I take it back.
Okay. But the important thing about Meteor is I think that's going to be next turn. I don't know if Meteor is quite worth it this turn. Manu and Fireball seems okay if you're willing to take another 7 damage.
Yeah, the thing that will save Japan here is they're going to be scared of Savannah Highmane.
Yeah.
So they will kill the Rhino, not because of the Fledgling, but because they're scared of the Highmane hitting them in the face for 6 straight away.
Yeah. But now, a Houndmaster plus Galactic Crawl is an option, Fledgling plus Flame Elemental plus Hero Power is an option, and here, Diggon really does have the chance to play around the Meteor, because he can put the Flame Elemental and the Fledgling down and try and position it in such a way where his most powerful minions will survive.
What to do.
Okay, so they have 9 damage that we can see, 11 if they play the Houndmaster. Is that enough to win the game? They can just literally go now and put your opponents on 6, which is a key number. It's an even number. It's 3 presses of the magic green button. We may see them develop the Crawler. And the only reason I'm going through that line of thought process is because the one card they will be scared of right now is Flame Strike. That's the only card that really ruins this game. And yeah, they're going to get in those steady shots and say, you know what? Not only are we putting pressure on the board, but in 3 presses of this button time, you're either dead or you're losing your block.
Yeah, you're right. And Diggon sees the line. Fledgling, not necessary to win this game anymore. Coin Flame Strike, as you say, is the only way to get rid of this board, really. Well, no, Meteor Trade would also do it. But that's it. That's the whole turn. And then you're not healing. You're not putting up any secrets.
Right.
That's it.
And they do go for the Meteor Trade line of play. And, of course, wipes out their own board as well. And Norway have 7 mana, which is really nice. There is the Huntress, confirming our suspicion.
There she is.
I think we just see the Fledgling, the Crawler, and press of the button here. I think we'll guarantee that button press every turn. And it's just a case of which minions can distract the Mage while you're hitting them for 2 in the face every turn.
Is Cloaked Huntress good on turn 7 with no secrets in hand?
It's wonderful. When your opponent's on 6, it's all right.
Right, it's a minion. It's a 3-4.
This is the thing about a 3-4 for 3. It doesn't need much upside at all. I mean, Spider Tank was a card that when it was released, everyone was like, this card is amazing, and it's a mech.
Yeah.
Rather than this is a mech, and by the way, it's a 3-4. So the shape is absolutely fine.
Tansoku now gotta try and work out how he's gonna survive this. Goes with the glyph. Okay. Fireball's usually good, but in this situation, it's not going to do all that much for him.
Yeah, the double ice block is the thing that Japan will pin their hopes on here. So they want to have a turn where they ice block and Fireball face. Maybe they'll be trying to hold on with those ice blocks until they get Alex Strada. But it's all glyphs and butts at this stage.
These are some high-value glyphs here. Glyphs and butts?
Don't worry about it.
These are some high-value glyphs here from Tansoku. I don't remember the exact statistics of getting burn damage, fireballs and frostbots and things, but it's not that high. In fact, I think there's a 25% chance, as good as, to get a low, just low value cards from
Right.
Cliff. So Sansoku getting pretty lucky there, but not quite lucky enough to put a stop to Diggin's aggression. I don't know what card he could have been hoping for. Maybe an extra ice block.
Yeah, and it's just going to be get rid of ice block number 1 here. Most likely, Diggen having a thought, though I like the way that Diggen spends a lot of time on every turn, because this Thalmnos does represent quite a lot of damage, but probably not as much damage as an extra turn would represent, which is what killing it would cost them.
Right.
So it's likely they just have to proc the block, but they do need to have a think about it, just in case that they can think of some reason not to do it. But nope, they're just going to do the stuff that they do. And now it's all about whether Japan can somehow find a situation where they can get enough damage done with 2 turns, basically, unless they can find another block. Otherwise, Norway are going to take a 1-0.
Well, there is the chance of a defensive Alexstrasza. If Tansoku can get the board back, play a defensive Alexstrasza, it could be coined out this turn, could be played the following turn. That's a potential out. But Diggen, he's done his thinking. He's decided that's the only way I lose. Therefore, I'm going to go as wide as possible on the board. Diggen, don't forget, he's been around on the scene for a long time. He's no new Hearthstone player. He was top 4 in Winter Prelims 2016.
Right.
He plays for Team Gatekeepers.
Yep.
He's a well-known player on the Hearthstone scene. Been around for a long time. He knows what he's doing, and he's got a good team behind him.
Yeah, and it's showing, like, the confidence. It sounds silly, but the confidence to rope every turn is actually a tough skill to acquire. It sounds easy. You say to yourself, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to rope every turn.
Yep.
But actually, what tends to happen when you're nervous or inexperienced is you play really, really quickly for no good reason.
Sure.
The number of players I've seen come off stage saying, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I played so fast.
Tansoku going to be hoping that someone on his team has been tracking his deck to see if that Kazakus is going to proc. It's glowing green, so Kazakus not ready to go yet, though we may see it this game if Japan can hold on for a little bit longer. They really need Alexstrasza, or that ice block is completely useless.
Right, now we're seeing why they played these minions on the board. Last turn, it's not so much to be aggressive, it's to be defensive. We know we can kill you over a couple of turns, but these minions are going to clear your board up and just buy us an even bigger button-pressing clock.
Also, Diggen favouring playing around the ice block there. Could have tried to pop the block at 1. Sorry, favouring playing around the ice barrier. Could have tried to pop the ice block at 1, but then he would not have won if it was ice barrier. By just hero powering first, it guarantees that if it's an ice barrier, then it's just game over.
And it's looking pretty bad. The Volcanic Potion will clear up everything on the board, but it's Kazakus time. He's green, though. It's not going to do anything.
This is just game over. Unfortunately, there's still 2 copies of 1 card. Not sure which card, but there's still 2 copies of at least 1 card left in Tansoku's deck. Volcanic Potion would clear the board, Ice Barrier would put a defensive secret up, but nothing is going to stop Diggen's hero power from just winning the game next turn.
Winning the game. Yeah, just going to be 1-0 to Norway, and we are 1 step closer to the Rap God and to the dab. I'm sure everybody who isn't Japanese is pretty excited about the prospects of embarrassing some players.
1 step closer to the dab. What a tagline for this series.
That is something I never thought I would say
while
as long
casting
as the
Hearthstone.
world existed.
Yeah.
But even at all.
Sure. Tansoku putting the secret up, hoping, hey, maybe Diggen gets greedy and hits the fledgling. Nope, okay, all right, game's over.
Sure.
Diggen going to take the first game of this series versus Japan. Again, Team Norway 2-2 in their group. They really want to get this win. It's very important to them. It will give them their best possible chance at progressing to the next phase of the Hearthstone Global Games.
Yeah, it's pretty much that they're through if they win this. It is not certain, I don't think, but it's damn well near enough, and 3-0 I think might be enough. There's so many permutations left of the coming games that it is a little bit messy, but we can pretty much put them through if they win.
Pretty much put them through. No promises from us. We do not want to be held responsible if some group chicanery happens and messes us up. But
yeah, it's all about Israel, Chile, Italy. They've all got matches still to come. Italy, Chile playing tomorrow, or Chile, as I need to say. B787, named after a plane, versus Hunter Ace, named after the last game of this series. Mage versus Shaman.
Hunter Ace only actually 16 years old. He's one of the youngest Hearthstone players. There's a few of them around. Plays for the same team as Zorkthar, which is, I don't know how to say it, BX3EK. Is the literal numbers and letters that spell out the name, all in capitals.
I think they won the Norwegian Championships earlier this year as well. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, great player. Obviously been voted in to compete for Team Norway. So the people of Norway obviously respect him enough to have him represent them.
Yeah, 16-year-old representing. That has happened in several countries. USA and that other country that used to play Hearthstone occasionally as well.
Wow.
All right, going to have a look at the guys now.
Rip us.
Hunter Ace, rip us indeed. Looking calm, got a good team behind him. Not in there with the team today by the look of things, but all he needs to do is drive, and I'm sure he'll be better than that. He played in HCT EU, meant he got into the top 64 in spring, so he is no slouch. All of this Norway team, in fact, on form in recent times.
Yeah, they're just a great team. And again, the extra thing they've got behind them, what Zorkthar was talking to me about this morning, is that they just feel like they're a great team. They feel like their synergy is really up there. He said to me, you know, that they're kind of bringing the same strategy as usual. They're not going to bring the same decks too much because they don't want to become obvious. They don't want to let their opponents abuse their history. But they are feeling confident. They're feeling good. And right now, at this moment of time, they have good reason to feel confident as we come on into game number 2. And this is looking like a freeze mage, which should be no surprise to us after the last few weeks at all.
Right, exactly. Obviously, Zyrez played Freeze Mage in half of his lineup that basically got him to #1 on ladder. He has since lost that, but he's still right up there. That deck performed incredibly well for him something like 10 days ago now. I had the stats at some point how he did. There it is. He went 71 and 35 at High Legend.
Wow.
With that deck. He went 62% with Paladin as well. So this team can play this deck.
Meanwhile, Hunter Ace tweeting a week ago, not quite the same results as Zyrez, but he was tweeting that he's consistently been top 100 with Freeze Mage. You know, I believe he got somewhere in the top 20 at some point in that run. So this team together have been playing a lot of Freeze Mage. I'm not surprised at all to see them play this in the Hearthstone Global Games. B787, though, he has Freeze Mage's arch nemesis in hand, which is healing.
Healing is, of course, awkward because Alexstrasza, especially in the modern era, is very important to getting your opponent down to 15, and if it all just heals, get back up to 21 or something, you've got it all to do because there's very little burn in your deck. That being said, we don't know exactly what this build is yet for the Shaman, but it seems likely there's going to be Spirit Echo and all that stuff, which means there'll be a lot of healing later on.
Yep, the game for B787 is just going to be a case of managing his resources, not playing the healing cards like the Genu Water Speaker that he just picked up until he absolutely needs to play them. Stonehill Defender seems like a pretty solid card, though, just to generate some more value. Picking up the Shaman Legendary Alakia, Dirty Rat may be tempting as well. It can just be game-winning in this matchup if you can pull out Alexstrasza or Antonidas, or even a Doomsayer at some points.
Yeah, Alakia was something that used to be teched in alongside, like you say, Doomhammer back in the day to beat Freeze Mage anyway. And so having the chance there, but Dirty Rat, if it just pulls Alexstrasza, is GG.
It can pull Antonidas and just get rid of it. It can pull a Doomsayer and blow up the board. There is a lot of high roll potential for the Dirty Rat, so it makes sense for B787 to pick it up.
Be interested to see if Hunter Ace plays around it in any degree and keeps Doomsayer back, but he does not. He decides to go and clear this board up, and now it's Dirty Rat time.
Yeah, I don't see why B787 would play anything else. What are his other options? He could play the Jade Claws with the Dirty Rat, sure.
Well, he may also consider this a bluff.
He could play Stonehill.
He may feel that, why are you playing Doomsayer when I haven't played Dirty Rat yet?
Right.
I think we'll see him play it, don't get me wrong here. But he has to consider, hang on, are Norway getting this out of the way early before they draw their big minions? Is this actually a way to get rid of my Dirty Rat?
Also, it's pretty important to note that it's only really a 1 in 3 for a game-shattering Dirty Rat to happen here. Obviously, B787 cannot see what we can see. If it pulls out an Acolyte, it's pretty bad for Hunter Ace.
It really is, because they've got no other card draw in their hand.
Yep, puts a stop to the draw. He shoots! He misses. That's the worst possible target in the hand for the Dirty Rat right now. Team Japan are going to be regretting it. We can see it was probably the correct play.
Yeah.
They just got unlucky.
Yeah, there were 3 results there. One was fantastic for Norway, one was fantastic for Japan, and one was kind of slightly favourable for Japan. Norway, however, getting that one on their side. And now they've got to decide, look, we need to draw some cards. This hand is going nowhere. Do we want to use our coin, which is really good with Antonidas, just to draw another card?
And the answer is yes. No more risks of Dirty Rats doing horrible things. Let's get this card draw I can.
You say that, but now the Antonidas is on his own.
Yeah.
So it's actually, in a way, more risky, but...
Very good point.
There's no way that Japan will be able to Dirty Rat in the short term.
Yeah, Norway know that Japan weren't actually running that Dirty Rat in the deck. It came from a Stonehill defender. Chances are, Shaman don't usually run Dirty Rat.
Yeah. Although we've seen Dirty Rat a lot of control things recently, and there's no way of telling exactly what this deck is right now.
Yeah, we can expect Dirty Rat in pretty much anything. Shaman being the 3rd most popular class at the Americas playoffs last weekend as well. Mentioned this briefly earlier. Split almost 50-50 across Jade and the Evolve build, although we've only seen the slower Jade versions today.
Yeah, there wasn't Evolve much earlier in the day, actually, right at the start, probably while you were still getting dressed or chasing fidget spinners around the room or whatever you kids do these days.
Before you broke it.
I'm so sorry. It really is broken as well. Dan's just messing with Gaskin's fidget spinner.
I'll put it down, sorry.
Going across the room again in a minute. Anyway, Norway now starting to get their card draw into shape. Got their Alex in hand, and all around looking pretty good.
Yep, second Acolyte of Pain, no risk of running out of card draw now. Hunter Race doesn't really have any reason to play the Acolyte just yet, though. I guess play around the second Dirty Rat just in case.
Yeah, you're right. They can't expect a Dirty Rat. That's my bad. They should not be expecting that.
Well, a second Stonehill defender's come out now, so actually...
I mean, it can happen, right? But they've shown the willingness to take Dirty Rat, but Alakir seems a better pick somehow.
Ice Block Ping just looks like it may be the direction that Hunter Race has to go, as he doesn't have any other options at all. Unless he wants to Flame Strike away this petty board of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they've got plenty of time, but all this time is doing is allowing Japan to get their healing and their Spirit Echo together. And just going to be nothing happening for 2 or 3 turns. Hunter Ace needs to find a way to draw more cards. Obviously, Acolyte Ping will play into that. But beyond that, they just don't have any play because they haven't drawn their card draw. Okay, now the game gets going.
Okay, Arcanologist is going to allow Hunter Race to hopefully pick up an Ice Barrier. Then again, second Ice Block won't be too bad to have either. I'd prefer the Barrier here just because you've got the mana to play it and nothing else really to do. And if you pick up the Ice Block, you obviously can't play it this turn. This works out nicely. Also, he doesn't really want to clog up his hand too much. He wants to be able to play the Acolyte at some point.
Sure, it doesn't quite have the problems with card draw it had a while ago because they've taken some of it out at times. Sometimes you only get 1 Loot Hoarder now, for instance, just to make space for extra stuff like Antonidas and Flame Strike. And in fact, double Flame Strike is unusual, and we haven't seen a Loot Hoarder at all yet. I wonder if they have built this to last a little bit longer.
I expect that we'll only see the 1 Flame Strike. The other came from a Glyph.
Okay, that's a good spot.
But 7 mana now. It's one of those matchups where it's so slow from both sides because Hunter Ace just sort of has to hoard his combo pieces together, and B787 has to hoard his healing and not play any of it until the combo pieces start coming out from the other side.
Right.
So it's sort of just both players waiting to see who draws their weapon first.
Yeah, B787 trying to work out here if there's any way he can ever win this game without proccing this. He can't. Just going to try and build up their board here, and getting that second Jade Lightning cast, make a 3/3 Golem, and that's just going to all get Flame Striked away. But it does mean now that Golem's going to start becoming an annoyance from this point on.
Loot Hoarder, okay, so he's running 1 of them. Makes a lot of sense, at least to run the 1. Yeah,
I mean, you can run 2. It all depends exactly how you want to build it. When you play Antonidas, then you are less reliant on having a Pyroblast
Yeah.
in your deck. That means you can play more Loot Hoarders and Flame Strikes. If you want to run Pyroblast and Antonidas, you're better against Control, and you're more happy to take your time, so you can start taking Loot Hoarders out.
I would consider playing the 5-mana Flame Strike here along with the Loot Hoarder. His hand is looking a little bit clogged up, so he can't just drop the Acolyte, but if he can get rid of the Flame Strike, drop the Loot Hoarder, have it replace itself with a card that he's more likely to want to play, it feels like he's progressing towards his win condition faster.
Yeah, on the other side to that, you may need these expensive cards to be out of your hand for later, so you could just play the 7-mana Flame Strike as well, but they're going to just keep building this hand up. Obviously, overdrawing is not an issue here. Now you do have that Alexstrasza in your hand.
Yep, both of the key cards are there. Nothing to worry about. Even the second Ice block there coming off the Arcanologist. So... yeah, okay, B787 can mill Hunter Race,
right,
but he doesn't care.
Yeah, you basically treat it as if the cards are coming off the bottom of your deck when you burn cards. If nothing important lives there, this game will not go to fatigue. If it goes to fatigue, it'll be 1 or 2 damage, it doesn't matter.
And he's only burning 1 card anyway. It's a case of, are you willing to give Hunter Race an extra card to burn 1?
Right, exactly.
It may, B787 may even decide to just leave the Acolyte be. Nope, he's going to trade into it. He's going to do some burning. Hunter Race picking up Frostbolt, though, probably one of the highest value cards still in the deck. Blizzard, not bad either.
Yeah, they won't want to burn a Fireball. I guess that would be at least a little bit annoying for them because they are a little bit low on damage. Obviously, the way Freeze Mage is built, but they do have Antonidas, which means they can generate their own Fireballs at some point.
But he's Valet, that's probably fine. I would argue that Frost Nova and Primordial Glyph are probably the 2 highest value cards that he would not have wanted to burn. If he can get a Spellbender, for instance, from Primordial Glyph, then there's a lot of potential for the Antonidas to survive a Hex.
Right. Yep. Just getting this Blizzard out of their hand and setting up the opportunity next turn to Flame Strike.
As this game goes on, though, towards its conclusion, slowly but surely, it's looking to me like B787 has got a good shot of surviving everything this Freeze Mage has. If there's no huge Antonidas from Hunter Race here, then both Junior Water Speakers plus Hot Spring Guardian should be enough to allow the Shaman to just outlast the burn damage.
Yeah, it's going to be all about how the Shaman manages its healing versus how Norway manages this Antonidas. If they can stick the Antonidas onto a board for 1 turn, which is difficult against Hex, they will just win the game. But sticking it for 1 turn sounds easy when you say it quickly, but it's actually kind of difficult.
Is a Pyroblast there, looking like a pretty standard Freeze Mage list from what we can see so far. Hunter Race going to be feeling the pressure from this Alakir, may need to Blizzard away this board for now, just to freeze that Alakir and the next turn deal with it with a Flame Strike, but things really are moving slowly for him. On the flip side, probably doesn't matter too much. If he can just wait until he gets the combo pieces he needs to get this Antonidas some value, then he's probably not complaining.
Yeah, Norway need to work out how much damage they need to do plus healing. Obviously, if they just Flame Strike pinged now, Alex the turn after, in theory they can just win with Fireball, Frostbolt, except they haven't got all those pieces, but they will have soon. On the other side to that, playing Alexstrasza now gives them that setup, but it means that that's 1 fewer cards that Japan need to waste to get rid of stuff, because they can use the Hex now, and then they can use the Volcano afterwards.
Yep. Antonidas is going to struggle to survive Volcano. However, if B787 leaves his board up, and Hunter Race picks up Frost Nova, Antonidas plus Frost Nova could put a stop to the Volcano, because Volcano is going to be blowing up B787's own board,
right,
not necessarily the Antonidas.
Well, this needs to be hexed or dealt with in some way, otherwise Flame Strike ping gets 8 damage from the Alex to the face, and if you start taking Alex damage to the face, that is just bonus damage for the Freeze Mage.
Is he not going to hex it? No, he has to. Then again, you don't necessarily expect Flame Strike from Freeze Mage. As you were saying earlier, it's very uncommon for there to be 2 Freeze Mages, 2 Flame Strikes sitting in a Freeze Mage's hand and actually... Okay, no, attacking first then hexing. Right? No? Jade Claws? Okay, alright. Whew. Sigh of relief there from us as we watch as B787 almost almost let Norway get a lot of extra damage in.
So what that means now is Norway will feel they have a chance of sticking Antonidas.
Yep.
But obviously the Volcano says no, and they will be aware of the Volcano. This is a fairly common deck now. Just going to clear everything.
Well, it's not even a case of the Volcano at the moment. It's the it's just the fact that B787 has a board presence. But next turn, next turn, you're absolutely right. Antonidas will be able to come down. Volcano will clear it up. Frost Nova isn't even in the picture, and there's no board from B787 side anyway. You're right, Volcano, my apologies, is going to burn Antonidas up.
One thing here that is interesting, though, the way that Norway played that slightly early looking Alex means that there's no Spirit Echo on the Hot Spring Guardian. That's like 3 extra damage they managed to do, if there's even a Spirit Echo in here, but you assume there is.
That's true. That's true. So at the moment, it's looking like it would only hit a Jinyu Water Speaker, and even then, the Jinyu Water Speaker will have to die before it gets to be played a second time. Oh. Okay. B787 going to just give himself a board. He's pressuring a lot of damage right now. In fact, he's pressuring popping the Ice Block.
Yeah, entirely not expecting any more AoE. They've seen enough AoE in that Flame Strike to not expect to see any more. And this is the downside of having used the cheap Flame Strike first, of course. Ice Barrier might be a very good stalling mechanism next turn. It's not going to get any more value than it will next turn. Interesting to see what Norway pick up and what they decide to do.
There's the Frost Nova. And okay, so it's fine for Japan because he can play both Volcanoes.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to see what you're alluding to there is Antonidas and Frost Nova, because Hunter Ace will think, well, if they've got Volcano, it's going to be difficult to deal with. But because they've got them both, it will be fine.
Actually,
they could use their face as well.
They can use their face, and then I think one Volcano does the trick.
Yeah, it does. Because there'll be 16 on the board. The Volcano does 15, your face does 2.
Right.
We'll get through. And you do the Volcano first, you might even get away with it.
That's true. But Hunter Race hasn't even decided to play the Antonidas yet. I'm sure him and his team are having a conversation about it as Team Norway discuss whether now is the time or whether Hunter Race needs to just wait a little bit longer. Maybe they want to let B787's board get a little bit bigger first to play around the Volcano.
To be honest, this play, if it does get Volcanoed and they do the play we're suggesting, there's a good chance Antonidas lives here, by the way. The highest health minion is the favourite to survive. Look at their hand. They've got a Frostblock, they've got a Pyro. That's 16 before you start, and they've used up so much healing, but there is the Spirit Echo. But if you play it first, you are going to have to use your face to tank 5 into Antonidas.
Yeah, it means you can't play both Volcanoes to clear this board. Then again, I think the Spirit Echo just ends up being better.
Yeah, you use Spirit Echo, and then you Volcano, and then you can get the Jinyu back, which heals you for 6 of the 5 that you lose by running your face into Antonidas. Which is pretty good, because 6 is more than 5.
Can you get away with maybe using Maelstrom rather than running the face? It's unlikely. The Antonidas is most likely to survive the...
But then you don't get to play the Spirit Echo, because you haven't got enough mana.
Oh no, he's overloaded.
So...
Because of the J-Claw, right.
But it's a shame for Norway, and it's a blessing for Japan that they are only on 16 health on the table here, and they are going to indeed go for this play. And he's praying, but it doesn't matter too much. If the Antonidas does lift, he can still hit it with his face, unless I'm missing something here.
Well, chances of probability don't really say that's how it should happen, but...
How did we miscount that?
Well, yeah, it was 3 because, yeah.
Yeah, we
that
counted by 2 there.
It made sense to me. The J-Claws was the 2 damage. There was 1 health on the board.
Right, but there was 2 health from the Jinyu as well. Anyway, now, the way that worked out is really difficult for Japan. Apologies for the miscount there. I think we were taking Antonidas as 5 health, not 7 for some reason. They can't kill this thing off themselves without Volcanoing. If they Volcano, they can't replay it. Which means that this damage is going to be lethal next turn from Norway.
Amazing. Amazing how that sort of flips round. So Japan actually would have wanted the Jinyu to die.
Yeah, they needed the Jinyu to die, and again, because there was more on the board, they were the 2 favourites to survive, Antonidas and Jinyu, with the 6 health and 7 health respectively.
But then, yeah, if the Jinyu died, then the Antonidas would have lived on 3 health and would have survived.
Right, so they needed them both to die, which is really unlikely with a 1-1 as one of your minions.
Right.
All right, so absolutely nothing that can be done here. I don't think there's any minion they can get from Maelstrom Portal that blows up your own board.
Now strum a mini Bolf Ram Shield.
And yeah, it's going to go to 2-0 to Norway there.
What an incredible performance from Norway. The Frost Nova coming just in the nick of time to be played with the Antonidas at a very relevant turn. And finally, we've all seen this so many times before. 2 Fireballs, 1 Frostbolt going to end the game. 2-0 to Team Norway, who really need this 3-0. We keep saying this, they're 2-2 in the bracket, in the group rather. I'm not sure where Japan are in the group.
Japan are 1-2.
1-2, so they need the win arguably more.
No, they're out if they lose, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Norway, if they win 3-0, I think will probably be through. I think they're through if they win most likely anyway, and 3-0 will just nail that in. And yeah, the miscount from the casters there on the health made it a bit messy, but actually they needed a good roll on that volcano to have any chance at all. They needed the Jinyu to die and to leave the Antonidas with 2 health so they could kill it, and that wasn't very likely, hence the praying there as we saw the volcano cast.
Right, well next up is going to be Xyres versus Gundam Flame, potentially to decide the fate of this series. There we go. It's going to be Xyres on the Druid, or on the Druid. There's the results on the Druid, and Gundam Flame on the Hunter.
Yep, Druid versus Hunter. Yet another Hunter coming out to play.
I'm surprised by this. Hunter's leaving the woodwork today.
So it's a good call here from Gundam Flame. The Hunter, very good against Jade Druid.
Yep.
And I think he's okay against tokens too.
Yep, I think it can depend a lot on the crabs, as we see a lot of the time Hunters have Galactic Crawlers, a lot of the time Token Druid have Pirates. If they can come down at the right time, that can be a big swing towards the Hunter. What are the other swing cards there? I guess Unleash the Hounds is okay against Living Mana. I think I'd call Druid the slight favourite though in that
Okay.
matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to put my side on the Hunter if that one comes out. Xyres there. Again, one of my favourite players just because he's so unpredictable, both in how he plays the game and, of course, just the things he says. Sometimes you think you've nailed his personality down and he'll say something exactly the opposite.
Right, and Xyres is a regular streamer as well, isn't he?
He is indeed a regular streamer. A good mix of information and salt thrown into his streams.
Worth checking out if you want just another one of those consistent ladder players that we...
Consistent enough to get #1 legend earlier in the month. Pretty consistent.
That's quite consistent, with Freeze Mage of all decks.
Yeah, and he does explain a lot about what he's doing as well. He does get a little bit salty, but who doesn't?
Who doesn't get a little bit salty?
I've never, ever got salty. You haven't got that fidget spinner anyway. Right. Anyway, so we're going to go into this game, and I feel that the Hunter is likely the favourite. Dan thinks the Hunter's the underdog. It'll be interesting to see how this comes out. Kids.
I'm going to just hold it away from you before you get violent again.
Anyway, Dan.
Yep.
Xyres. Gundam Flame, we haven't talked much about. When he played in the Japan Championships, we saw him play very, very good aggressive decks. But we also saw a smattering of control, and he played those almost equally as well.
Right.
His understanding of aggro, and you guys watching, we know who you are. You're going to love this. His understanding of aggro is finding the opportunities to not trade, as in he finds the opportunities to hit you in the face.
Ah.
And he can find ways...
Oh, is that how you play aggro?
To just keep hitting you in the face.
Oh,
It is
okay.
indeed. He finds ways to hit you in the face that you didn't even expect.
Well, he's going to struggle because there's a Tar Creeper in this Token Druid, something we've seen more and more of recently. As me and Gaskin were saying earlier, you see Tar Creeper in every deck, but there's patches. Xyres doesn't seem too salty about that.
Yet. So they are
Yet.
2-0 ahead.
Yeah.
And well, I think Patches has been played in a fair number of decks that Xyres has played, despite the fact he's been playing Paladin and Mage a lot. He does a fair share of other stuff as well.
Gundam Flame, also one of the players that Sottle has had his eye on for a long time, I think. Way back in 2016, I think he tweeted about Gundam Flame saying, this is one of those players you should be watching.
Yeah, that's when he won the Japan Championships. And Japan have a pretty powerful lineup. B787 we've already talked about, of course. Gundam Flame has qualified again for the APAC Championships. He's in 53rd place in the whole of APAC this time around. So you'll be seeing him this weekend, along with B787, and also along with Aqua and Tansuka. They have all qualified, I believe, this time around.
Well, I guess they make for a pretty good team then. No wonder they've all been selected to play for Team Japan in the Hearthstone Global Games. As Gundam Flame picks up a 1-drop, which must look very tempting here.
Yep, play the cat. Means he's not going to play the Macaw, or he would have played it first.
Yep. Oh.
All right, tiny ordering error, doesn't really matter. It's very hard to know what he would have picked up that would have taken precedence over the cats anyway.
I mean, what 1-drop is better on turn 1 than that? I guess you could argue maybe Fiery Bat, because it could trade better
Maybe.
with the 2-2. But you're right, doesn't really matter at all here. And Zyra is going to be a little bit greedy with that Mark of the Lotus. See if he can hold on to it for just a little bit longer, buff up 3 minions with it.
Zyros also has this Vicious Fledgling in his opening hand. He's a big fan, oddly enough, of cards that win you games.
Huh.
Vicious Fledgling is that card.
Cards that win you games. I should learn a thing or two about that.
Yeah, I know the feeling well. Vicious Fledgling, of course, is just going to get taken down by the bow at some point in the future here, though.
Whoa, that nice little 1/1 buff on the cute tabby cat there. Going to trade away that Firefly body.
Yeah, there's a good reason that you get +3 attack or +3 health, but only +1/1 when you get them both. It's because it is so versatile as a buff.
And now it's kind of difficult for Zyra here. He can play Mark of Yusaraj to make a clean trade, but it means that he's not going to be getting a card draw off of it. He could drop patches as well, potentially clear the whole board. Looks like that's what he's going to have to do, but I doubt he feels great about it.
He won't feel great about it, but he has managed to stick something on the board. He'll feel even less great after this next turn, though, when the Eagle Horn bow just says nope. And Zyres is going to be down to Mark of the Lotus and the Fledgling. And this is why people are playing more and more 5-drops in Druid to give it that little bit of sustain.
Gundam Flame actually going to change his mind now he's picked up the Kindly Grandmother. They're going to play those. And now, potential punish from Zyres as he can play the Vicious Fledgling, Mark of the Lotus, get another value trade from that Flame Elemental, and have a 4/4 body on his Fledgling. However, next turn, the Eagle Horn bow punish will come down as you foresaw last turn and end Zyres' dreams with the pink bird.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything else. There is not. This is a fairly straightforward turn. As we see the trades are pretty obvious here. And Zyres is down to just hoping to draw Bittertide Hydra or Living Mana.
You were saying?
That helps.
Living Mana going to almost definitely come down here. Now, let's just say definitely going to come down here. Zyra is going to make the best trade he can, leaving only the Flame Elemental alive, which won't make a good trade against this current board.
Yeah, taking a minion off the board there as well, just in case of that card there, the Unleash the Hound.
And as I predicted earlier, one of the blowout cards from the Hunter can be the Unleash the Hounds after the Living Mana. Problem is, though, each of those is only a 1/1, and these Living Mana Treants, they're 2/2s.
Yep, so you can take them half of them out as you've got a 1/2 on the board already. Plus you can take one out with your weapon. You can leave them with just a 2/2. Actually, this is the other option you can sometimes do. Gundam Flame just says, you know what, hit me for 10, and next turn I'm going to wipe them all out and have a go at my animal companion rolling Leok.
Gundam Flame hoping there's no second Mark of the Lotus there, which would have been, I guess, the only punish for leaving these alive. Made a lot of sense, though, because it played around Power of the World, it played around Savage Roar, etc., etc. Zarius did pick up a 1-mana card, and now it's back over to Gundam Flame to decide how he's going to deal with this.
So the obvious first port of call could be the Animal Companion. If you can roll a Leok, you kind of win on the spot. If you don't roll a Leok, you can still attack with it, whether it's a Misha or whether it's a Huffer. And you can still make your Unleash the Hounds. You've got to be a bit careful to get the maximum number of Hounds, the order of your trading and such.
Oh, he gets the Leok. Yeah, Huffer would have by far been the worst Animal Companion there.
Never Huffer.
But now, Flame Elemental trades. The Tundra Rhino can trade. Each Hound can trade. There's a complete board clear here if Japan want it, and I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, just got to clear the entire board. Just checking their ordering here, and then the Unleash will just clear everything up, and we'll have a 3/5 and a 2/4 versus a whole bunch of bottom right buddy.
Zerez shrinking down in his chair as Leok into the Unleash the Hounds combo annihilates his mana crystals, pops them back into their rightful place below the game board.
I think I saw Zerez's mouth there that he was unimpressed with that situation.
Were they his exact words?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't speak Norwegian too well.
Okay. Pink Birdie going to come out, not do all that much. Japan completely in control of the board here. All of their beasts have charge. Gundam Flame can start with the Jeweled Macaw. Houndmaster seems like a pretty good card right now, although it doesn't have charge.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the next game. Sorkthar versus Aqua is going to be Shaman or Rogue versus us. So, yeah, they can do it however they see fit in this situation. What they will likely do is set up a taunt in case of accidents, or they may. I mean, there's going to be no accident now. Yeah,
no accidents anymore.
Just sick of waiting for Gundam Flame to do it correctly, taking his time. 2-1.
Yeah, and the beginning of the comeback for Team Japan, who, as we've said, absolutely need to win this series if they're going to get through to the next phase of the Hearthstone Global Games. On the other side, Norway, they wanted a 3-0. They're not quite there yet. They're still very likely to get through to the next phase, even if they lose the next game and win the one after. Like, they just need to take the series.
Yeah, they just want to take the series and we get the dab and the rap and all the other young people things.
That's all you seem to care about today, Lorinda. You don't care about who actually wins the games of Hearthstone. You just want to see a dab.
That is actually pretty much what I live for.
Ah, bless.
Aqua on the Warrior, Sorkthar on the Shaman. 2-1, Aqua. Like I say, an interesting character, very, very calm player, and plays an enormous amount of Hearthstone. Like I said earlier, he actually played an open, well, it wasn't an open cup, it was like an invitational final in between 2 days of the Japan Championships last year. I mean, why not?
Fair enough. Impressive. I feel like it's not even that big a deal when I say something's impressive anymore, because I'm blown away by all of these Hearthstone players. You know, they've been picked to play in this worldwide competition for a reason. On the other side of things, we got Sorkthar, who, as I mentioned, I've been talking to him a little bit today, and he's oozing with confidence. You can just, just been messaging him, just sliding into DMs on Twitter, and you can just tell by the phrasing of how he was wording everything. Like, he feels good about today. His team feel good about today. As far as they're concerned, they're going to take this away.
That's definitely a swipe right if ever I heard one. As we move into the Skype views of these guys getting ready, like I say, Aqua very focused. And Sorkthar currently very focused, although he has been pretty animated so far.
Right. Well, today, just calm, collected. Again, he mentioned to me that he believed that he had gotten a little bit unlucky, or they as a team had gotten a little bit unlucky with the games that they'd lost. They feel like...
No Hearthstone player ever said that before.
Is that violin?
It was.
A bit of a
really bad,
low violin.
Punched up violin. It was more like a bad snooker cue.
Mine's up here, although it looks like I'm just trying to flex my muscles that I don't have.
Which is why I went into casting and not music.
Okay, all right. That was an embarrassing display of miming weapons and muscles. Let's move on to the game, hopefully any moment now.
And that's just how I feel about my casting right now, to be honest.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Sap casters.
So it's going to be Warrior against the Shaman, and Shaman just making a massive comeback at the moment, being played a lot, which is something that everybody thought wasn't happening anymore.
Yeah, I mean, again, me and Gaskin were talking about this a lot. Like, Shaman seems to have gone from being class number 8 in popularity to, well, as we said last weekend, class number 3 in popularity. Right. I don't think it's quite like that overall. Last weekend was a very interesting little meta in that tournament.
Yeah, everyone reacted to the European meta being fairly aggressive and said, right, we're not having that here in the States. We're better than that. We're going to sit there and we're going to stare at each other. And yeah, we've got this really controlling meta, but Pirates are still a big part of things, and Pirates are what Aqua has got. And against Shaman, that might not be the best thing. Look at these tools that Sorkthar has to deal with the early game.
Yeah, we've seen that Shaman is capable of just putting, especially today, capable of putting a stop to the early aggression. We've actually seen Shaman picked, I think, by 4 out of 4 teams that I've seen played today.
That's a lot of Shaman.
Yeah, it is a lot of Shaman. I don't know about in the first game, but there's got to be some sort of record for this.
Yeah, there was one Shaman in the first game as well,
yeah.
So Raven will be definitely missed this week.
Shaman. There you go.
Yeah, it's a shame, man.
I figure I'd just say it once, just to appease him and appease all of the
Ravens' many fans.
The few English, British English people that still say that.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm not saying it again.
Sorkthar's hand is insane here. Absolutely insane. He doesn't know for sure, obviously, which warrior it is, but it doesn't matter because if it's the wrong one, you've got plenty of time.
Speaking of insane hands, though, Team Japan, Aqua. That doesn't look bad either. He's got an upgrade, he's got a War Axe, he's got a South Sea deckhand, he's got a South Sea captain. I know I've just listed all of the cards in his hand, but it doesn't matter. They're all just so good.
Yep, sometimes mulligans happen, and a mulligan is about to happen to Zorkthar. But again, he's picked up the Bloodsail Corsair, so it's not getting any worse for him either. And this is going to be a brutal start to this game. There's going to be 2 or 3 turns of both players being upset at what the other one does to them.
It's going to be very important for Zorkthar that he uses his Bloodsail Corsair to snipe off the second durability of the Fiery War Axe, if that's possible. If Aqua does coin out the War Axe now, he's going to regret it, as that upgrade will be looking pretty sad, as will the South Sea deckhand in Aqua's hand.
Yeah, and we assume that that's what the Corsair will be used for. Sometimes you want to try and use it much later and try and pick off the Arcanite Reaper.
I think with a start like this, if it swings. If it doesn't swing,
Yeah.
there's a good chance that Zorkthar just holds onto the Corsair. But if it does swing, I think he definitely has to play it with the Flame Elemental. It makes a wide board and also just gets rid of the weapon entirely. It's not going to happen, though.
Yet another tool for dealing with Pirate Warrior. Norway looking in a good spot, but they're going to need to look in a good spot because, as you've highlighted, Aqua's hand is also terrific.
I wonder if Aqua's going to be playing around Bloodsail Corsair here. He may just, like, not swing the War Axe until he can upgrade it, just to try and squeeze as much out of it as possible.
Yeah, Shaman's playing more and more Bloodsail Corsairs at the moment, so definitely a card he could play around.
Bloodsail Corsairs everywhere, even in non-weapon classes, we can see that card. Just because of its strength with patches and its strength as weapon removal. Here we go, upgrade, deckhand, patches, let's go.
Yeah, he's in charge now, but he's not quite sure what he's in charge of. Aqua needs to decide whether he wants to waste 4 damage hitting this 1/2 minion. If he does that, it will allow the deckhand to maybe punch another 2 through. That's half your damage back before you start. However, the chances are that's all you get out of it. So I think we'll just see everything go to the face. Actually, we may see the 1/1 traded into.
Warwick's going to trade too. Looks like Aqua is going to play this Pirate Warrior like a zoo deck. He's got South Sea Captain in his hand to buff up the deckhand if it survives. Jade Claws, though, going to make short work of that. Patch is going to pop out from the other side, though.
Yeah, and it's one of those decisions, you know you're giving up 2 damage, but you are trying to fight for the board, and sometimes that early decision can just gain you a whole chunk of damage back immediately. And already getting another 2 back because Zorkthar deciding to control the board with little guys because he's got Flame Tongue in his hand.
Both players trying to control the board. Zorkthar being a little bit more successful than Aqua in doing so, and as you say, Flame Tongue Totem is going to make Aqua rue the day he wasn't able to clear everything that Norway have. Look at that little smile from Zorkthar there. There was a very conniving smile, like ready to go next turn. Just going to wait and see what Aqua has.
Important that he put the patches in the middle there, or important that he put the Flame Element on the right-hand side, because now he trades away his weakest minion when he plays the Flame Tongue.
Right.
Just another tiny little feature of all the things that players do that you don't even notice most of the time.
Okay, what are we waiting for right now?
So Aqua needs to decide where he's going to stick this axe.
Oh.
I suspect he's got some pretty entertaining ideas right now, but most of them aren't suitable for PG broadcast.
Right. One of them will be the Bloodsail Corsair. One of them will be the face, I imagine. I
mean, how do you win if you don't hit face? He's just going to wait and hope to get an upgrade.
It's hard to justify not hitting the face, you're right, but unfortunately for Aqua, it's going to be harder and harder for him to hit the face as this game goes on. Stonehill Defender picked up. That's a taunt which is going to grab another taunt. Flame Tongue Totem going to make short work of the South Sea Captain.
And anyone who played the old Pirate Mirror will know how bad things get for you when you used to get the Shaman hero power from a Finley and one guy just spams this massive wide board and the other one does not. Eventually you just get these infinite taunt totems as well.
Not quite as brutal as it used to be when there were feral spirits running rampant in this deck.
Right.
Because I don't believe that these evolved shaman are running feral spirits.
No, I haven't seen Feral Spirits for a while actually. That's a card that needs to make a comeback. So there's the Naga Corsair, but that's not the buff he was really holding out for. But at least it is a buff. It does allow him to get something on the board. But Pirates are good at doing damage, surprisingly. but there's a lot of damage required and a lot of answers in Zorkthar's hand.
Hex. No, maybe Hex is fine here. I really like Stonehill Defender plus Flametongue Totem personally. You can make short work of the Corsair, even just by trading the Young Priestess in with the Flametongue and then popping the taunt next to it.
Yeah, that's an option for sure. I think you want your Priestess to stay alive, but maybe you do. You lose 2 minions the other way. But
okay.
Yeah, this is the way I'd do it, just because the Priestess is so absolutely disgusting.
Tough call, but I see it, yeah.
Saving the Hex is really good against a huge frothing Berserker down the line. Not that it looks like it will matter.
Like a frothing Berserker is ever going to stick on this board.
Right,
Look
exactly.
at what Zorkthar has, and unless this Pirate Warrior has teched a Brawl into the deck, which seems a little bit less than unlikely.
Sure, right. It's strange though, right? Because you say that's amusing, and I agree.
Yeah.
But so many people put Flame Strike in their aggressive mage decks.
Right?
Like especially learning players, new players. Oh, I'll put a Flame Strike in my deck because I keep dying.
The difference being, Flame Strike doesn't destroy your own board.
This is also true.
And Brawl... White Eyes picked up from Stonehill Defender. Not a card seen too commonly in Hearthstone, but here's a quick reminder of what it does. The Storm Guardian is a 5-mana 10/10. And if that was to be picked up by Zorkthar, I think the game would pretty much end there and then.
I think the game may be about to end here and now. Anyway, Aqua has one more turn to make a whole bunch of magic happen. The Mortal Strike may just tempt him into trying one more turn. There's no reason to give up unless you're absolutely beaten. But it's just looking so grim for him. Maybe you keep the Mortal Strike and manufacture a way it can do 6 to face. Where's the other 12 coming from?
Okay. Heroic Strike. Gonna just get rid of the taunt.
Yeah, give himself a weapon and hope something crazy happens.
But as you say, just so much damage needed. And yeah, while White Eyes may not be the taunt with the most health, just the potential of getting you one with 10 health, he's going to want to get that down instantly, and I wouldn't even be surprised if we see the concede after White Eyes gets played.
I think that is the case. That is what we're going to see here. Was that the dab? I looked away. There was something happened there.
I missed it as well. I was looking at my notes for a second.
It's fine. All right.
Hopefully we get a repeat performance.
Indeed. So Japan have no way through this at all. No card draw. No way of gaining health apart from the armor up. We can see there's a lightning in hand. And it is looking like Japan's trip in the global games, despite the fact they have one more match to come against Finland next week, their trip to the global games is pretty much over.
Finland also with a 1-3 score.
Right.
So both teams with a 1-3 score. Both teams looking like they're pretty much out regardless. Disappointing game for them, but feels good for Norway.
Yeah, they've even got a decent games difference as well. They've got +3, which may mean there's no combination of things that puts them out, but I won't swear to that until I've mathed it later. All right, Norway getting through this, absolutely cruising with that opening hand, even though Japan must have loved the hand they picked up at the start.
Yeah.
Just no match for this. And Norway just say, do 18 with 7 mana, good luck.
Just shows how strong the sneaky shaman can be in the background while everyone is making fun of the deck saying, hey, elemental shaman's no good, Kalamos ends up being bad, blah, 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 blah. Just core shaman tools doing what the core shaman tools can do. And yes, right now I am considering Maelstrom Portal a core shaman tool, as that card is 2 of in every deck ever since it's been out.
Yeah, and just didn't really see any ridiculous cards at all played. There's like no expensive legends, no anything. It's just a bunch of motley cards getting the job done and effectively putting Norway into the next round. Zorkthar is delighted again. And honestly, Norway have been on top form individually and as a team for some time now, and they are progressing to the second stage.
Really, really exciting stuff for Norway. Their confidence has been proven worthy, you know, that they had a good reason to feel confident. They've come in, they've won 3 and won another game today, not going to the ace match.
Another game where Warlock didn't get to do its thing.
Just another one.
Just another one.
Who knows? Maybe if we went to the ace match, it would have been played.
Maybe.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think we'll see Warlock played at all today?
Maybe. I'm going with the maybes.
Maybe.
I feel that
Maybe,
Warlock
maybe.
does have a place in this particular format. I think you can construct decks that make it happen, but no, not so far today. So it seems that the best players in the world disagree with me.
It's your surprise attack deck. It's funny to think, though, that the players prepare their Warlock deck each week and think to themselves, it's probably not going to get played.
I think they just try and snipe one deck with it.
Yeah.
And if they do happen to match into that deck, boom, boom, snipe happens, win game easily. And that's 1 time in 4, 1 time in 5 or whatever. We have seen some Warlock played in global games, and I've hardly ever seen it lose.
Right, well, we are going to have an interview now with Diggin. So we'll just wait for that to pop up in just a moment's time. Here we go. Hey,
Hello.
Diggin, how's it going? Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
I spoke to Zorkthar briefly before you guys started playing today, and he told me that you were all feeling pretty confident. How are you feeling now that you're 2-2 in the bracket? Do you 2-2?
3-2.
3-2, sorry. Now that you're 3-2 in the bracket, how do you feel about your chances to get through to the next phase?
I think we're pretty much through to the next round, no matter what, I believe.
We haven't mathsed it.
Yeah, I think that if
ourselves yet,
Israel
but-
win 3-0 and then lose like 3-1, it might not be 100%, but it might be. I'm not quite sure, but it's very, very close. So yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk- Go on.
Yeah, it feels good.
Talk to me a little bit about Shaman, because we've noticed it's been a huge trend lately, both in HCT last weekend and today. We've seen so much of it in the global games. Do you think that the deck is making, or the class, sorry, is making a comeback?
I don't play much Shaman. Zorkthar is our Shaman god on the team, so he says Shaman is very underrated, and yeah.
And so the important business of the day, when are we going to see your Rap God variant?
That was a lie.
Well, we have promised
Zorkthar
it.
lies to us?
We have promised
Yeah,
it
lied.
to the stream, so
Okay,
But he will dab on Twitter.
awesome. We'll get
Okay.
we'll settle for the dab.
everyone should follow Zorkthar on Twitter then, I guess, is the conclusion. And of course, the whole of Team Norway. Thank you so much, Diggin, for your time. Congratulations once more. Go and enjoy your victory, and we'll see you again very soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Take care. Yeah, glad to see Diggin getting through to an important tournament. He has, again, he did it last year in the winter playoffs, but it's been a little while for him. But he's always there or thereabouts if you do follow these guys. And he is somebody who we're going to see a lot more of over the coming months. He has played a lot of Hearthstone in his life.
Yeah, I'm particularly happy to see it from Team Norway. I have a certain affinity for the teams that think of themselves as a community, like Finland, like Italy, like Norway, who maybe aren't the most famous players in the world, but definitely have a scene and definitely are picked to do these things for a reason. As we quickly look back at this incredible Freeze Mage performance from Norway after the Volcano there, Fireball Frostbolt just ending the match.
Yeah, just doing their numbers, getting it exactly on, knowing to play that Alex Straza a little early, and any later and it would have been a disaster because the Spirit Echo would have triggered on this Jinyu, which would have been 6 more damage they needed to do. But they managed that game incredibly well. They didn't manage this one so well. There wasn't much they could do about this play. And Zyrez there definitely was unimpressed with this situation.
Not something you say that often after an Animal Companion, but Leok, most valuable player here. Huffer would have been terrible from that companion. Misha would have been okay, but nothing was quite like the Leok, buffing all of the hounds up and allowing him to trade away all of those mana crystals.
Yeah, and Norway on the cusp if they're not through entirely. 3 games to 1. We see there, they're +3, which is incredibly important. Finland and Japan are out. Chile do play Israel next week, and they play Italy tomorrow. So if they win both of those, if they win both of those, then they get to 3 wins. Then if Israel beat their other match, which is Italy, there could be 4 teams on 3 wins, but I believe that being +3 for Norway will be enough to make sure they go through.
Complicated group there. I'm glad that you're capable of doing the maths, Lorinda. I know that maths is one of your favorite parts of working out these formats and Hearthstone. I didn't catch your little shaking head there. But don't worry, we don't have too much more maths to do today, I hope, but we do have much more Hearthstone Global Games coming up after this short break.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.